Okay, so many of you know I fancy myself as kind of an expert in this. Like, if there was ever a tier list that I think I have the most expertise in speaking on, I'm a TV film major, I worked in the industry, and these are the only types of shows that I watch on a consistent basis. So I like to think that I know these things. So this is the ranking. So I chose, all the anime shows that I didn't watch because I wasn't really into anime all that much as a kid. I've come to appreciate it more as an adult, but I just never watched it as a kid. We then have the I'm not that old category, which is shows on this list that I genuinely don't think I can rate, honestly, because I was just not old enough to have watched them and enjoyed them when they aired and when they were a thing. So that category is Daria, which I've actually heard good things about as a show overall, and Beavis and Butthead. I'm a boomer. I wasn't watching Beavis and Butthead on MTV. All right, like, I'm not that old. Hence the category name. We then get into what I believe is the only F tier show on this list, and it is a show that Birdpatch has already just chatted about. It is Big Mouth. Big Mouth is awful. Big Mouth is not a good show. The character models are hideous. The jokes are all, kind of played out like puberty-based jokes that you can get on pretty much any other show, like anything that's South Park or Family Guy even has done in certain degrees. And also, it's just like, it's so weird. It's just a very weird show. They do have big mouths. This is true. It's just, the whole thing is very off-putting to me. I've seen like multiple episodes of it. I've given the show multiple attempts to get into and like. I just can't do it. I have a bunch of friends who swear by the show. It is just not for me. Lava, what's up? Dropping the cable wave. It is not for me. It is the only show on this list that I believe belongs in the F tier, and I really just dislike it. And I know a lot of people who do like it, and I respect those people's opinions, but yeesh, I don't know how you watch that shit. Yes, exactly. Lava understands me. Then we're getting into the D tier. Now, the D tier, I'm gonna have probably a very controversial show in the D tier, and it's gonna be. Remember, this is a personal tier list. This is not how influential or important I think these shows are. That being said, yeah, The Simpsons is so fucking mid. It's just, The Simpsons is so mid. I even have gone back and watched old Simpsons episodes, and even the like Glory Days Simpsons episodes just do not do it for me. And I'm sorry, and I'm sure I'm gonna be offending a healthy chunk of my audience here, but I must have missed the Simpsons boat when I was a kid, and like at the applicable, age in which the Simpsons hits right for you, but it just never hit for me, and it's just, I could never get into it. And I understand how like influential it is. I understand how it's literally the godfather of this entire genre. I think it's better than Family Guy, which has a 50. Well, I'll listen, we'll get to my take on Family Guy, but my opinion on The Simpsons is like, I am of the age where all of the shows that The Simpsons has inspired have like now improved upon what The Simpsons built. So I can't like The Simpsons. It's the same way why I don't like Star Wars. You know what I mean? Because I grew up watching movies that just have better special effects and have played out the Star Wars story that at the time wasn't cliche, but is now, it's a pretty cliche story. So I recognize The Simpsons' influence. I recognize its importance. I don't disrespect the show at all, but I personally can't put it higher than D tier. It's like, it's one of the few. The way that I judge this list is basically, first 5 seasons were great, and then it went downhill. I went back and rewatched the first couple seasons, and they were good, but they're actually really good. I would almost put it at C tier, but the 20 plus years after that have to knock it down to D tier for me. The other D tier show, which honestly might as well be F tier, but I just put it at D tier because I don't want to put anything on Big Mouth's level, but I really don't like the Cleveland Show. The Cleveland Show is super fucking meh. It's just worse Family Guy or American Dad, and that's not saying much for a Family Guy. It's just, it is what it is. It's pretty shit. Also, it's like not for me. It's like obviously written more for like a black audience, so like, and that's not to say that I don't like shows that are like black based, but like I feel like the Cleveland Show being voiced by a white guy and having it being Seth MacFarlane writing, like, I don't know. There's certainly better shows written by people of color that I've enjoyed, and I feel like Cleveland Show is kind of like a Family Guy version of that just doesn't really land for me. But Racist hashtag canceled, bro. Nah, I'm just talking about quality racial TV programming, and Cleveland Show ain't it. I think most people would agree with that. Like for example, I have another show that's based on that's gonna be way higher white privilege. Anywho, let's move to the C tier. So the C tier is an interesting tier for me. The C tier is a tier for me that it's the shows that I like more than the shows below, and I'll watch them when they're on. But I legitimately only watch these shows when I'm just fucking super baked and it's like 3 a.m. and I have Adult Swim on, and that's fucking Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Robot Chicken. These are two shows that I will literally never watch unless it's fucking... I have seen One Punch Man Lava. I haven't ranked it yet, but I'll be ranking it. It's the one IIS show that I've actually seen. And I haven't seen all of it. I've only seen the first few episodes and I need to finish it, but I'll rank it. I'll get to it. It was my first foray into anime. So then, back to the C tier. So the C tier is basically just like, I'm fucking high. It's 3 a.m. Adult Swim is on, and I'm like just kind of like zoning out. In those situations, I fucking love Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And I even kind of like Robot Chicken too. Every now and then, Robot Chicken has a skit that's like really funny. That is actually good. I mean, it's very hit and miss. Both shows are. But you know, they're just quality like C tier background. You know, you get high, you throw them on Adult Swim type shows. But I like, they both hold a special place in my heart because, you know, all Adult Swim programming sort of does. So now we move into the B tier. And B tier is also very interesting because B tier is the tier list of shows that I like and respect, but haven't seen enough of and need to honestly watch more. Watch Rosebud Chicken Sesame Street when I was like 6. That's hilarious, Brad. So you get into the B tier. So the B tier consists of Archer, show that every single time I watch it, I really enjoy it, but I've never sat down and just kind of watched it all the way through. But I really like it, and I think I would probably put it higher if I like had watched it more and gone through it more. But it's a very quality show, and all of my friends who watch it like have very high regards for it, and I respect most of their opinions. So I think Archer, based on the amount that I've seen, I can't put it higher than B tier, but I do think it's a quality show. And the episodes that I've seen, I've really liked. Another B tier show, similar vein, King of the Hill. King of the Hill is a super quality TV show, and it doesn't get the credit it deserves. And I've been meaning to go back and watch more of it. It's in very much of the same boat. Radinator, I have not seen Cowboy Bebop. I haven't watched half of these. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how these tier lists tend to go. But King of the Hill and Archer, you know, they're both quality shows. They're good, you know, and they're shows that I wish I had given more of a chance in my life. Because the bits that I've seen, I've really enjoyed. The same also can be said for two more shows that are in the B tier category, which are The Boondocks and One Punch Man. I've only seen like the first 5 episodes of One Punch Man, but it was actually hilarious, and I love submersive like parody stuff, and especially like what One Punch Man is parodying, like and like this whole superhero genre and shit. Like I really enjoyed it. And also, you know, The Boondocks is just classic too. Boondocks is like one of the first adult shows that I would watch. Totoro. Again, these are all shows that I cannot put higher because I have not seen them all the way through and seen them multiple times. So the B tier is essentially the shows that I like and respect and have watched and honestly need to watch more of. That's kind of where my take is on the B tier. They're all shows that I think are really quality and I would like to watch more of. There's also one more show in the B tier, but it's in the B tier for the exact opposite reason, and that's Family Guy. Here's why Family Guy is in B tier. If you were to take certain episodes and certain seasons of Family Guy, they'd be the worst thing on this list. They would honestly be worse than Big Mouth. But I fucking grew up on Family Guy. Family Guy back in the day, Family Guy back in like 2004 or 5 hit so fucking different. Like Family Guy was one of the funniest things on television when it was back in the day. Present Family Guy is Laugh Out Loud funny. That's debatable. They're very hit and miss in my opinion. I think One Punch Man is quality, but there's a lot of better, which isn't as popular. Yeah. But Family Guy's like, listen, you have to take the good with the bad with Family Guy. Family Guy at its peak, at like cultural peak, was so good. It was just, I think B is the fair placement for it. Any higher and it's getting overrated, but any lower and you're not really doing it the justice that it deserves. You know what I mean? I think it's a solid B tier show. It's quality. When it's hitting, it hits differently, man. It's a really, really funny show. Like seasons 2 through 7 of Family Guy is just about peak adult animated comedy. But then obviously the rest of it brings it down to B tier. That's kind of where my take is on Family Guy. Now we move into the cream of the crop. Now we move into the shows that I fuck with. Any show here, you could throw on literally any episode of and I would watch. These are the best adult animated shows produced, in my humble opinion. And we're gonna start with the A tier, and we're gonna start with Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is fucking flames. Rick and Morty is really, really quality programming. And I know there's like the meme about it, and its fucking online presence is super meme to shit. The show is really, it's one of the smartest comedies. And I don't even mean it like in the bullshit way that most people say they mean smart comedies where it's based on like sci-fi, but in terms of like high concept writing. As someone who comes from a writing background in school and studied writing, the episode structures and the way that they present that show, it's very, very similar to like Community. And you see Dan Harmon's influence on it by the way that he's able to just manipulate the show into different genres and parody different things and do different structures while still making it work. And it's for that alone, it's S tier, A tier at least. Pet Shark, I mean, like, if you think about it, like, every single episode of Community is its own self-contained thing. It's a new idea. It's like a lot of them are very high concept and very weird, and that's why Rick and Morty is great. Like every season there's like the one like high concept episode and stuff, and you really see Dan Harmon's influence from Community on Rick and Morty, in my opinion, especially from a writing perspective. Like, I don't think it's the best show on this list, but it's one of the best written, and in a very specific way that appeals to me as a writer. And like the way that I approach media, it's an unbelievably fresh take. It's one of the most innovative shows in terms of the dialogue and the way that they write characters. It's one of those forward shows that gets imitated. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you see qualities of another show being imitated in other things that other networks are putting out, then you know that it's like, it's good and it's worth, you know, respecting and watching and giving its credit. I do think it's gone a little bit downhill. Season 2, one is good, 2 is peak. I haven't seen Solar Opposites, but I've heard good things about Solar Opposites. I've heard very good things about Solar Opposites, which is interesting. Also, Final Space, I've heard good things about too. I need to watch. There's so many shows that need to be watched. 100% Patch, by the way. Yeah, Harmon was that show. So then we continue in the A tier, and I'm going to probably have a controversial pick here in the A tier, but I'm going to put it there. South Park is not a personal favorite of mine. I fucking love the show, but it shouldn't be in the S tier. It shouldn't be in the highest tier. South Park is a very hit and miss show. And it's similar to Family Guy, except when it hits, I think it hits even better, and it has way higher highs than Family Guy. But I would almost argue that South Park has lower lows. Like, when a South Park... Listen... Some of the South Park episodes are the best individual episodes. Like, if I was to do a ranking of like my personal favorite like episodes of all of these shows and like do like 1,000 episode rank, South Park would have some of the, like, probably the highest number in the top 20 or something. You know what I mean? Like, the peak South Park is so fucking good, but a lot of South Park is basically unwatchable. Take it from someone who had recently gone back and like rewatched it from the start. Every other episode from seasons like 3, from seasons 1, 2, and 3 is unwatchable. And it's probably like 2 or 3 episodes a season from there and after. Like, South Park has some brutal episodes in there. And for me, a show needs to hit. To be in the S tier, it needs to hit 100% of the time. I need to be able to put on any episode, no matter how, it could be my least favorite episode. And like 90% of the time, I'm watching it and enjoying it, even no matter how many times. You know what I mean? When did you stop watching Family Guy? It's actually gotten better. I've watched it up until like I haven't watched the last like 2 seasons, but I've watched like very recently. It went through a very bad lull, and then it got good again in like 2015, 16, 17. It was okay. But I haven't watched like the last couple years. Yeah, well, all early Randy Marsh eps are S tier, but I kind of have the feeling that they've done the character of Randy Marsh a little bit to death. He's a bit too involved in most things these days. It's very much a Randy Marsh show now, which is good, but I just don't think I can put South Park in my personal favorite category as good as it is. It's a fantastic show. Another show that's also a fantastic show, and this is probably the counter opposite to how I feel about South Park. 100% Petrick, that whole season's weird. Bob's Burgers is, if South Park is the ultimate highs and the ultimate lows, Bob's Burgers is the ultimate just steady quality. Like, you're very rarely going to find a Bob's Burgers episode that's really bad, but you're also not going to find as many like bangers as you would in South Park. Like, but there are of course some really good episodes of Bob's Burgers. But that being said, it's one of the most consistently quality shows on TV. Like, the writing is so smart. The characters are so witty. It's one of the best shows for one-off characters. Like, in terms of having like random characters who you never see again. It has some of the best. It's one of my go-to recommendations for people because I feel like a lot of people haven't seen it, or at least not as many people as should have seen it. Bob's Burgers is a really good show, and I highly recommend it to all of you if you haven't watched it, because it's just like a very slow burn of quality. It doesn't have many lulls, it doesn't have many highs, but every episode's like a very solid 8 out of 10, and they're all quality, and it's just a good show. And it's also super smart too, and has a lot of social commentary aspects too that like don't really get talked about that much, but it's very much like a working class proletariat show sprinkled in there, because you know it's very much about like the financial struggles of the family too. It's got a Malcolm in the Middle vibe. That's like the best comparison I can make. Bob's Burgers has got like a very Malcolm in the Middle-y vibe, but animated. That's the way I would describe it. In a great way. I love Malcolm in the Middle. I mean that in the best possible way. But that being said, I don't think it deserves to be put in the S tier, because it's just, you know, it's good, but it's not my favorite. And then the last show that goes in the A tier is Futurama. Futurama this is almost exactly my list. That's hilarious. Futurama is unbelievably quality. I think it's kind of similar to South Park in terms that it has high highs and some low lows, but it's one of the headiest shows. Like, you'll notice that I have a trend for like very heady concept shows that like have a lot of dry humor and a lot of, you know, it's a very particular style that I'm into when it comes to writing, and Futurama obviously checks all those boxes. I mean, I think like 7 out of the 10 like original writers or something like that had fucking PhDs in mathematics. It's like the smartest writers room ever assembled. It's like a bunch of fucking Harvard like GED people who just like decided to make a comedy about all of like the stupid nerdy shit that they like, which, you know, as a stupid nerdy guy myself, like, how could you not appreciate that? It's just it's like the perfect example of like a concept show. Not like, it's not your standard bearer. You wouldn't like say it's your favorite show because it's like very much like a genre based show. You know, it's a future time travel-y like sci-fi based show, but holy fuck, it's so good. It's just quality. And it also has, wait, since I missed the start, did you ever watch any of that? No, I didn't watch any of them when I was younger. That's why they're here. I can't properly rate them because I missed them. But I did watch One Punch Man, so I felt confident rating it. But Futurama also is a really good precursor for future shows because, yeah, basically means not seen because it's anime. Futurama is one of those first shows that would interweave like really dramatic, sad moments with comedy. Obviously, you know, they're famous instances now, like, you know, Fry getting frozen and his brother's story and the dog story. I mean, there's like a lot of really gut-wrenching moments that are super poignant and resonate really hard coming from a comedy, and they were one of the pioneers in that regard. Like, they were the first animated comedy show to be doing like emotional shit like that. So you have to throw them, you know, their roses for that, because that's like pretty damn impactful for my favorite show, which we'll be coming up to in short notice. I've been watching the last 3 seasons of Futurama at the moment because I've never really... Dude, they're all good. All of the seasons are good. It's one of those shows that I can really put on like any episode and genuinely enjoy it for myself. It's a really quality show. Fair. Dragon Ball and One Piece are worth watching even as an adult. I would skip Bleach and Naruto. I mean, I would skip Dragon Ball Z also for the record, but you know, we don't have to get into that. I'm going to be out of my element talking about this shit. Now we get to my personal favorites. These are the 2 S tier shows. I fucking love American Dad. If I were to write a sitcom, American Dad's brand of humor would be the humor that I would write in. No show makes me laugh harder when I'm by myself because it's just so fucking stupid and good. It's like, it has the perfect level of subversion on the joke, the perfect level of like not giving a fuck. I fucking live for American Dad. It's my absolute favorite show, and I recognize that there are some dog shit episodes. Like there are a couple episodes of American Dad that are really bad, but no show has throwaway lines that make me laugh harder. Like American Dad will pull, like it's the only show that will pull a joke out of thin air that you're not expecting on a one-off line by a character delivered to nothing, to like that nobody responds to. It's just Roger saying something in his fucking tone to nobody, and you're just in stitches. It's one of the most sharp, and it's not even like that it's so well written. They just have such a fucking firm grasp of the characters and of just comedic timing in general. It's so fucking funny. You could quote any American Dad quote to me, and without even seeing the context, I would laugh to it. It's Seth MacFarlane's best Family Guy work, but for adults. It's like he took off the training wheels and stopped writing like the cutaway gags and the fart jokes and turned it into what what an adult version of it would be. It's like the grown-up version of Family Guy. And it's just so great. And I could talk for literal hours about this show. And the show that I could also talk for little hours about, that's probably my favorite piece of media ever created. You all probably saw this coming. Mr. BoJack Horseman, obviously. It gets the #1 spot, in my opinion. It is just, I mean, you want to talk about innovative, packed to the brim with jokes, fucking the smartest, it's a million things have been said about the show already, so it's like I'm almost beating a dead horse about talking about how good the show is. But I'm one of those people who genuinely watched it from the start and caught BoJack Horseman from season 1 on and like lived it and didn't like, and no show has impacted me as a human being and made me recollect on myself and my own personal psyche and my personal battles more than BoJack Horseman. It is arguably the most introspective show I've ever seen. It's genuinely fascinating how well the writing team on BoJack Horseman understand the human condition and human emotion and the way that we interact with each other and just society as a whole. But like, holy fuck, do the characters in BoJack Horseman have the underwater episode. I mean, even the high concept episodes, the churro episode, the underwater episode. What are other ones? I can't think of them off the top of my head, but like, it's so good. It's the only show that like can weave back and forth between like gut-wrenching psychological analysis of a very like deeply flawed person and then make a joke about how like, oh look, the cat is doing her laundry and is like batting the laundry. It's like, it's such a strange, beautiful dichotomy between absurdist, like almost even nihilistic or just self-loathing, like exploration and shit, and then like the most whimsical fucking animal puns. It's so weird. It shouldn't work. It's not the type of show that should work and hit the way that it does. But holy fuck, it's by far and away my favorite TV show and my favorite, honestly, probably my favorite media item ever created, and definitely has had the most impact on me. It made me really think about like myself. If you haven't seen it already, I could not recommend a show more on this list. It's by far and away my first recommendation to everybody who like asks me for show recs or like what they should be watching. And let me just say now, let me just preface it by saying the first season's a little rough. It was written in a different way. It was written to be for network comedy. And then it was retooled and fixed to be for Netflix. So the first half of the first season is a little wonky, but I promise you, like, bear through that. When it starts to get into like the good part, Avatar would be in personal favorites 100%. Yeah, first 4 episodes ish. It's like the first half of the first season is definitely a little rough, but I cannot speak higher of a show from season 1, episode 6 onward. It's masterful. It's one of the best things you'll ever. I promise you will not regret it. I promise you. I watched it this year. 4 episodes in is when I couldn't turn it off. Yeah, exactly. Hey, back to American Dad. Gotta walk this one off. Nah. Well, people, that's the tier list. I think I put good thought into it. Like I really wanted to do it right because I wanted my opinions to not be bullshit. I want this like to stand and like be not something that I would feel differently about on another day. You know what I mean? So this is, I think, my definitive list. Maybe I would do this. Maybe I would do that, but I would put it like in between. It's like a C minus D plus. But I think this is just about the final list, I would say. If you have any hot takes or disagreements, now would be the time to voice them. How do you guys feel? What did I fuck up? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Any missing series in this list? Oh, it's not a full complete list. This was just a good one that hit all the shows that I liked. Sad customer. I think it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, chat. I think we can put a bow on this, right? I think we're good here.